Hi everyone, welcome to Practicing Beyond Print, Multidisciplinary Design Studios in Conversation, a program of the SG Art Book Dialogue, which is a series of book launches, discussions, and artist talks organized by the Singapore Art Book Fair. My name is Bernie Tan, and I'm curator of the New Design Collection Initiative at Singapore Art Museum. SAM Design Collection is very pleased to co-present 3 of the SG Art Book Dialogue programs this year, including this one, for the milestone 10th edition of the Singapore Art Book Fair. So the fair is an annual multi-day event celebrating contemporary art books and zines. SGABF is committed to deepening the understanding of art books in Singapore and encouraging the exploration of this diverse medium as a crucial, if not central, part of art practices. The fair is organized by Think Books, a center for art book initiatives and events in Singapore. SGABF would like to thank their partners and sponsors, the Singapore Art Museum, AVS, Allegro, B-Cube, Oval Singapore, Boss, Coffee, Jome, and Currency Design. For more information, please visit their website at singaporeartbookfair.org or follow them on Instagram at Singapore Art Book Fair. SAM Design Collection examines multi, inter, and transdisciplinary practices at the intersection of contemporary art and design. It seeks to complicate long-held binaries and hierarchies that have typically separated art and design despite persistent convergences. Design is positioned not as a monolithic and distinct sphere, but rather as a perspective through which SAM can engage with an expanded field of creative practitioners, including those working with art books. So the 3 programs that the collection is co-presenting move through the art book ecosystem from macro to micro, art book fair organizers, which was on Friday, design studios who work in print, and later on, independent practitioners. So following our keynote event, the second panel brings together design studios from Asia, independent design studios that center print and publishing in their practices while also building upon this foundation to move into researching, organizing, and curating. This conversation will position the creation of art books as one key element in a larger creative ecosystem and explore the expanded roles that design studios can play. So we are very pleased to have with us today the co-founders of Corners, Dae-Woong Kim and Hyojun Jo. Based in Seoul, South Korea, Corners not only provides graphic design services, but also curates exhibitions, makes merchandise, and creates research-based publications. They run Corners Printing and Corners Publishing, specializing in risograph printing. And we have Chris Kim, translating for Dae-Woong today. So next we have the co-founders of Studio 150, Piakon Chaivira Pundek, and I practiced, and Pat Nadapan, based in Bangkok, Thailand. Studio 150 leverages graphic design as a core tool across all mediums. They bridge graphic design with contemporary art, focusing on observation, multidisciplinary research, curation, and storytelling. They are also co-founders of the Bangkok Art Book Fair. Last paragraph. So following their presentations, we will have a discussion moderated by Gideon Kong, who runs Gideon Jamie, and I'm standing here, okay, I'll move. A small design studio that is also involved in publishing, writing, and making exhibitions. They started Temporary Press in 2018, a publishing press that explores ideas and practices around design, and Temporary Unit in 2020, an ad hoc exhibition space and bookshop. So Gideon will also share more about his practice very briefly, just to provide some context for this discussion. And without further ado, I will hand the session over to Gideon, or to Corners, who will start the presentations.
안녕하세요. 저는 코우너스 공동대표 김대웅입니다. 만나서 반갑습니다.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm the CEO of Corners, Kim Dae-woong. Nice to meet you, everyone.
이번 프로그램에 초대해 주신 분들과 토크를 보러 와 주신 분들께 진심으로 감사드립니다.
I'd like to say thank you for inviting me for this session and for the all audience come to watch this talk.
오늘 발표에서는 저희가 인쇄소를 운영하는 데 주요 기반이 된 을지로라는 지역을 소개하고 진행했던 2 프로젝트에 대해 이야기해 보려고 합니다.
For today's presentation, I'd like to introduce you this place called Ulljiro, which is a very appealing place, and it also became a very important foothold to operating our printing shop. And I also want to introduce these 2 projects we have we have done and we have done.
먼저 간단히 저희를 소개하겠습니다.
First, let me introduce ourselves.
코우너스는 2012년에 시작한 디자인 스튜디오로 저와 조효진 디자이너가 공동으로 운영하고 있습니다.
Konos was founded 2012, and with designer Jo Hyo-jun and me together, we manage.
이 사진이 스튜디오 초기 모습이고요.
This is the early image of our studio.
이곳이 현재 스튜디오 모습입니다.
This is the now currently our studio is look like.
동시에 저희는 스텐실 인쇄를 전문으로 하는 인쇄소를 함께 운영하고 있는데요.
Also, we have this printing company. We are specialized in the stencil printing.
반은 인쇄소로 나머지 반을 디자인 작업 공간으로 사용하고 있습니다.
So half of our studio is for the printing place, and half of our studio is for the design place.
저희는 이렇게 디자인 스튜디오이자 인쇄소이기도 하면서 책을 펴내는 출판사이기도 한데요.
So we are a design studio at the same time like printing shop, and also we are the publishing company, publish books.
책의 파트를 함께 운영하는 체계가 독립성이나 네트워크 형성에 도움이 되고 있습니다.
So these three businesses help independence business, and also it's good for us to have form this wide network.
일반 디자인 회사와 마찬가지로 의뢰받은 일을 진행하면서 다른 한편으로는 일러스트레이터나 그래픽 아티스트와 함께 책을 만들어내고 있습니다.
Like other companies, we take on commissioned work, but also same time we work together with illustrator and graphic artist and publish books.
이 책은 사진 작가들과 함께 만든 시리즈고요.
So these are the books we create together with the photographers.
이건 우리가 사용하는 인쇄 방식에 관한 책입니다.
And this is the book about the methodology we use for the printing.
이건 인쇄 방식을 실험하면서 만든 인쇄물입니다.
This is the printing work we experienced for this printing method.
또 한편으로는 전시를 주최하거나 워크숍 이벤트를 열어서 다양한 창작자들과 교류를 이어가고 있는데요.
Also, we host some exhibitions and also workshop, and we also host some events. So we keep mingling and networking together with a variety of creators.
이렇게 자체적으로 진행하는 프로젝트나 다양한 활동은 인쇄소를 중심으로 하고 있습니다.
For this project and then other activities, it is led by our printing shop.
그래서 먼저 인쇄소 운영의 발판이 된 을지로 지역을 소개하려고 합니다.
So before introducing our project, I'd like to introduce this place 을지로, which is a foothold for our printing shop.
을지로는 서울 중심부에 위치한 지역으로 인쇄 관련 업체뿐만 아니라 아크릴, 나무, 철, 전기 등 거의 모든 산업 재료와 가공 업체가 밀집한 지역입니다.
Ulchiro is located in the center of Seoul. It is not just for the printing related companies, but it is also for the all industrial materials like acrylic, wood, steel, electronics, finers. So all these materials and then processing companies are densely located.
그래서 일반적으로 쉽게 구할 수 없는 특수한 재료들을 찾을 수 있고요.
So in here you can find that these materials it's very difficult to find and hardly find. You can find out here.
하나의 재료를 전문으로 하는 업체들이 즐비해 있습니다.
And there are like lots of shops specialized in only one materials.
그래서 디자이너나 예술가를 포함한 여러 창작자들에게 이 현장이 좀 특별할 것 같다는 생각을 했는데요.
So I think that for the creators, including designers and artists, this place is meaning a little bit more special.
자신의 작업을 실제로 어떻게 만들지 실험할 수 있는 장소이자 다른 대안을 찾아볼 수 있는 거대한 작업실 같은 곳이라고 생각했습니다.
So this is a place that how you can create your work and you can do some experiments or you can find some other alternative ways for your work. So this is like a huge workshop for you, for the creators.
그러한 이유로 서울에서 활동하는 여러 창작자들이 을지로에 작업실을 두는 경우가 많아지고 있습니다.
For these reasons, like variety of creators work in Seoul. They put their workshops in 을지로.
여기서부터는 인쇄 골목인데요.
So from here is a printing alley.
노후한 건물과 간판들을 보면 폐허처럼 보이기도 하는데
So when you see these old buildings and the old signage, you may feel like this is like demolished areas.
현장에 직접 가보면 오랫동안 쌓인 이곳 그대로 정취와 사람들 손길이 느껴집니다.
But if you actually visited there, you can feel this old vibe and then the people's actually living there. You can feel this a very special vibe.
골목이 좁아서 대부분의 업체는 자전거나 오토바이를 주 이동 수단으로 하고 있습니다.
So this alley is very narrow. So most of these companies, for their transport, they have to use bicycles or motorcycles.
이렇게 위아래로 인쇄물을 옮기는 기계들이 곳곳에 보이기도 하고요.
So you can also see these machines. You transport these printing materials.
드물지만 옛 간판을 오랫동안 잘 유지하고 있는 업체도 있습니다.
Also, you can sometimes spot this a company keep this very old signage for a very long time.
최근에는 재개발 때문에 빈 곳이나 공사장이 많아져서 유령 도시 같은 분위기가 생겨나고 있는데요.
Recently, we have like a city redevelopment thing going on. So there are some empty places and some construction places. So it feels like sometimes like ghost city.
그 틈에 카페, 바, 클럽, 전시장, 서점 등 최신 문화가 들어오면서 젊은 세대가 찾아오는 거리가 되었습니다.
But in between there are like cafes, bar, and clubs, and exhibition places, and bookstores. So these new cultures are coming in. So the new generations also would like to visit these places.
바나 클럽을 중심으로 DJ 공연이 열리기도 하고.
So DJing performance is holding here, including Bana Club.
음악 공연뿐 아니라 언더그라운드 문화의 중심이 되는 각종 소규모 전시, 독립 전시도 활발해지고 있습니다.
Not just music performance, but other like small sizes, independent displays, which is the center of our underground cultures.
그래서 요즘 이 골목에 있던 인쇄 업체들이 조금씩 사라지고 있는데 20-30여 년 자리를 지키며 남아있는 업체가 아직 있습니다.
So recently, these like printing and post-processing companies are beginning to disappear. But there are some shops that have been there like 20 or 30 years.
옵셋 인쇄, 마스터 인쇄, 디지털 인쇄, 실크 인쇄 등 여러 방식의 인쇄소가 있고.
So like there are all different kind of printing shops, like offset printing, master printing, digital printing, and silk printing.
재단, 재본 타공, 라미네이팅 박 등 여러 후가공 업체들이 한 골목에 모여 있습니다.
And in this one alley, there's a variety of post-processing shops, like binding, perforating, bonding, laminating, and foiling.
다소 분위기가 거칠고 대량 생산을 선호하는 업체들이 대부분이고.
So their vibe is like a little bit tough and rough, and most of them prefer mass productions.
소량 작업이나 까다로운 요구를 반기지는 않는 분위기인데요.
And most of them not happy accept this small-sized work or like a very like particular requirements. They are not happy with this.
그래도 잘 찾아보면 저희 이야기를 들어주고 함께 새로운 방식으로 작업해 보려는 사람들을 만날 수 있습니다.
But if you try to find, we can find some shops. They are happy to listen, and they want to do some way to try to find a new way to the new work. You can find those kind of people as well.
그런 사장님들이 벽에 걸어둔 모토를 보는 재미도 있는데요. 여긴 남과 같이 해서는 남 이상 될 수 없다라고 적혀 있습니다.
So in this, the owner of this some shops, it's also it's a pleasure to find their like lifetime mottos like in their shops. You can see it says, if you do like others, you cannot go beyond others. In the sign it says.
여긴 하면 된다라고 적혀 있습니다.
And here also said, you can do this, I can do this.
이러한 을지로가 저희에게는 후가공 작업뿐만 아니라 여러 활동에 걸쳐 토대가 되고 있다는 점을 말하고 싶었습니다.
I'd like to say that this Ulchiro is not just for this post-processing work, but also this is a very important foothold for this variety of activities that I'd like to highlight.
그래서 혹시 여러분도 서울 여행을 가게 된다면 을지로를 둘러보시는 걸 추천드립니다.
So if you have any chance to travel to Seoul, I'd like to strongly recommend you to go to Ulchiro.
이제 저희가 진행했던 프로젝트 이야기를 이어가겠습니다.
Also, now I'd like to talk about the project we have done.
오늘 소개할 프로젝트는 우리가 재료로 다루고 있는 잉크와 종이를 주제로 하고 있습니다.
This project we are going to introduce is with the topic of ink and the papers.
또한 디자인, 인쇄, 출판, 전시 등 우리가 하는 다양한 일이 포함되어 있고 여러 창작자들과 함께했다는 점에서 이번 토크 주제와 연결된다고 생각했습니다.
So it includes that lots of work we have done, like a design, printing, publishing, and display. It's all covered. And then we also do the networking with the creators. So I think that this topic is related to the topic of today's talk.
먼저 잉크빌리지라는 프로젝트를 소개하겠습니다.
So let me introduce about this project, Ink Village.
이 프로젝트는 우리가 하는 스텐실 인쇄와 관련이 있는데요.
This project is related to our stencil printing, which is our main work.
이 기계가 우리가 사용하는 스텐실 복제기입니다.
This is the stencil print duplicating machine we've been using.
이 인쇄는 고유한 색상의 잉크를 사용한다는 특징이 있고 다양한 색상을 여러 번에 겹쳐 인쇄하면 예측이 어렵지만 독창적인 인쇄물을 만들어낼 수 있다는 매력이 있습니다.
So for this printing, it used its own unique color of ink, and then if you print these multiple colors for the multiple times, you can have a very original like printing work, which is difficult to predict. So which is a main appeal point of this printer.
그래서 이 인쇄 표현의 가능성이 궁금해서 시작한 프로젝트가 잉크빌리지입니다.
So this is a project that we conducted as an attempt to answer the question of the expressive possibilities of print.
인쇄소를 운영하던 초기에는 이 인쇄가 많이 알려지지 않았었고 저희도 경험이 부족했기 때문에 다양한 작업자들이 각자 이 인쇄를 어떻게 사용하는지 궁금했습니다.
When we first started our printing shop, this printing was not familiarized, and then we also don't have lots of experience. So lots of people would like to know about the way we work.
그래서 주변에서 활동하는 작업자들을 초대해서 그들의 작업을 리소 인쇄로 표현하고 그렇게 만든 엽서크기 인쇄물을 사무실 복도에서 전시했었습니다.
So we invited lots of people, and then we express their work with this litho printing, and we have displayed this printing material print outcomes, which is the size of postcard, and we displayed in the alley, in the hall.
시간이 조금 흘러서 이 인쇄기와 잉크를 개발한 회사에서 A2 인쇄기 홍보에 사용할 견본 작업을 의뢰했습니다.
After some time later, this company that developed this printing machine and the ink, they requested this sample work for us. They're going to use for the promoting of their printing machine.
이 인쇄 방식에서는 A3 전용 인쇄기가 대부분이고 A2 전용 인쇄기는 세계 몇 곳이 유일해서 우리는 이 기회를 두 번째 잉크 빌리지로 기획했습니다.
So for this printing method, it's mostly for the A3 paper size. But for just using A2 paper size, we are the only a few of this printing machine around the world.
아카이브 봄이라는 별도 전시 공간을 선정하고 설치팀과 함께 준비했고요.
And we have selected this special displaying place, Archive Boom, and we work together with this team specialized in the spatial work.
전시장 모습입니다.
This is the place of this exhibition area.
서울 아카이브 봄에서 열었던 전시가 끝난 이후에도 프랑스와 중국에서 연계 전시를 열었는데요.
So after this exhibition in Seoul Archive Boom, and we also have this related displays in France and China.
프랑스 낭시에서는 갤러리 마이 몽키와 협업해서 전시를 열었고,
We had the exhibition in France, in Nancy in France. We worked together with Gallery My Monk.
중국 상해에서는 바나나 피쉬북스와 함께 전시를 열었습니다.
In Shanghai, in China, we worked together with Banana Fish Books, and we had a collaborative exhibition together.
이번에는 종이와 관련된 프로젝트입니다.
Now is a project with regard to paper.
우리는 한솔재지라는 제지 회사의 디자인 업무를 맡아서 진행하고 있는데 이 회사에서 종이에 인쇄하여 발행하는 뉴스레터의 기획을 의뢰했습니다.
So we are working together with these Hansol papers. We are in charge of their design work, and they requested their newsletter, the planning of their newsletter, and they requested us to do this printing and the publishing.
저희는 이 프로젝트를 종이를 둘러싼 제작 전반의 여러 프로세스를 실험한 인쇄 제작 가이드이자 예술 서적 중간에 있는 매체로 기획했습니다.
So with this project, with this paper and offset printing and the paper and the post processing and the paper and the stencil printing.
진행했던 책을 조금 보여드리겠습니다.
Yeah, this is the work we have done together.
여기까지가 우리가 진행했던 가지 시리즈입니다.
So this is the work we have done so far.
여러 실험 결과를 총 6권의 책으로 만들면서 다른 분야의 창작자들과 함께 종이를 보는 다양한 시각을 경험하고 공유했던 프로젝트입니다.
So we have this project involved in creating 6 books that showcase the various experiments result of printing production on paper. So through collaboration with creators from different fields, it explored diverse perspective on viewing papers.
여기까지 발표를 마치겠습니다. 감사합니다.
That's all. Thank you.
Hello. Okay. Afternoon, everybody. Um, so we are Studio 150, and we are from Bangkok. So, first of all, I would like to thank Sam for having us today, and also Singapore Art Book Fair for having us today. We're gonna start with introduce our studio. So the Studio 150 is based in Bangkok, and we started in 2017. Actually, we've been working together as a freelancer before that, like after we graduate. But at one point, we need to have a name, so we have a name for our studio. And that's shorter for clients who understand who we are. And our studio, at first we work for a cultural institution in Bangkok. So our work is more graphic design for exhibition, brandings, and publication. And we also start running Bangkok Art Book Fair in 2017 as well. So that is more how our initiative part start. And this is some of our work. So from last year, after we've been doing lots of initiative projects, we started to divide it clearly, and we called it in the new division called S150 Annex. So it's literally translated as annex, like extension of work from Studio 150, but actually it's more like a clear division of our mental space. We don't have physical space yet, but yeah, it's more like we clear the purpose of each work between commission and initiative. And actually, we can mention about one of the ongoing projects that we're working is called the Owen Network project. So in 2023, last year, we had a chance to be involved in the Nordic Contemporary Art Biennale in Norway, Moss, in the city. And at first, we joined as a designers. We took part in designing the identity for the Biennale, but through the process, we had a good relationship with the team and working together. So we start to form the network. And maybe we can mention a little bit about the work here. In this Momentum 12 is the name of the biennial, and actually the biennial is supposed to have identity, right? And identity should be one thing. But we feel the concept of the biennial is together as together, and it's more gathering people from all around the world together and presenting the work. So we try to instead of making just one identity, we encourage people to be part of creator of the identity of the Biennale by making a system for number 12. So everybody can make their own 12 and be part of the identity in the Biennale throughout 3 months. So it's create a lot of vibrant atmosphere to the work. And yeah, from that, we start to getting to know more colleagues, and I would say friends. And we group up together and start to try on experimental of new way of working. So we call it the OWEN. It's a collaboration way of working and also a network between Studio 150 and Good School in Indonesia, Ten House from Oslo, and PAC from South Korea. So it's four different collective from 4 different countries and around the world. And we are now working together on the project called the Oven, and it's literally translate the oven concept. So it's we're thinking of an oven is a place for baking things. So when we have an idea, so we bake in the oven, and then it's become something like new bread, and then we can present ourselves to others. And so this year in May, we start like a pilot project under the theme of urgency. I think it's a theme that good for starting for all collective, because every city, every region has their own urgency. So it's like a good way to introduce and like present the projects. So we did the exhibition in Seoul in May through September.
This is our exhibition. We call it Radiant Basing. The Radiant Basing, because we want to reflect our agency in our country. So we use the topic of superstitious because it's very relevant and more visible after the COVID pandemic. As you see the picture on the slide, the left side is the example of superstitious stuff in Thailand. Now it turned to be a business model like above, like we have lucky phone number, we have lucky t-shirt color that fit with every day and every purpose, and we even have lucky contact lens. So I think from our observation, we think this kind of thing like happen decreasingly in our country because people feel like insecure and suffer in their daily life. It's kind of like an indicator of about the people feeling. So that's why we use this topic to present in urgency project. The first, we start with the amulet, like Buddha amulet, which is really common in Thailand. But this one quite special because it is the most expensive one. It's very small in this size, but it's cost 6.9 million US dollar. Yeah, and so we start with the research about the components like inside the amulet, and we found out there are just like normal things that you can find in your daily life. For example, like flower pollen or barefoot gum or like ash from the temple, honey, gluten rice flour, and cooked rice like from merit making. And we took the photo of that component by using the microscope camera to see what it is inside, like with the close-up image. And we present this kind of component with the light boxes, small light boxes, like make people like can able to see like similar to when I took a photo with the microscope. Yeah, this the installation in the exhibition. And in that room, we present the chant that used for basing the amulet is called, and we transcript that chant to be in English because originally the chant is in Pali language, which is the dead language from India. And we also make our own amulet by like mixing the component that we found during the process.
Just to add on, like the component that we use to take photo is not the original one, so we actually order it online.
Yeah. So like in front of the main room that we install the red soda bottles to mimic like when people in Thailand, when they want to pray for their God, they always use the red soda to get blessed from the God, because like in the old time we sacrifice animal and we use their blood like to pay for the God. And nowadays we change to use the red soda only. And like if you go to Thailand, you will see many red soda, like for example in the like specific junction or kind like this kind of holy places. It's not for drink, it's just for God. Yeah, for the gods only. So and we use the microscopic picture to make this poster combined with the chant and make it to be the Honri object. So this is the pin set that present the lucky color chart that you can use for your daily life. And the chart will active just only for 2024 only. It means like next year the chart will be changed by someone that we don't know who. And this is the T-shirt that combined with the Supreme Monk, like from Thailand. And the shirt that I inspired from like classic poster that they put the portrait of the Supreme Monks together, but not related to their teaching, but they use just only the name that present the luck bringing. For example, jewel, money, gold, and so on. So in the first floor of the gallery, we did this setting to mimic the Thai people behavior that when they go to the temple for praying, and after that they come to the merchandise shop to get some luck bringing stuff back home. And we also have the publication, like to show the case study about this kind of superstitious phenomenon in Thailand. That because we think nowadays it go far beyond the Buddhist teaching, and we print at corner actually.
And also last month, with this urgency theme that continue, we had a chance to make like a quick one-day workshop together with the design student here in Singapore. So we use this opportunity to like start questioning on our like research that we want to talk about what the role of the school and also the role of design education in the society. So we like got like 6, 7 participants and joining like workshop and discussion, and then we make like one-day poster together. This is like what the design student in Singapore expressed their thought and want to share their ideas, like what is urgency in their education. And also another thing is publication. Like we regularly publish book, and we see it as our mediums to express our thought. So these are some books that we been published, and we also use it as a practice too. So for this one, it's like the calendar that we make together with our intern. So every year we would have like intern during the summer, and we use this time together to learn from each other. Like we can use publication as a tool to teach them the design system and printing, production, and also like getting ideas, like fresh idea, brainstorming idea together. And this is like a publication that we collaborate with the product designers. So the aim of this is to to upcycling the waste in Bangkok and make it back into that context. So in the process, we research different waste in Bangkok and present why it's important, and also like the product designers, they experiment with the making and bring it back into the context. Also, this is like one of the publications that maybe can be represent like the way of our working that we like to observe or research an interesting issue at that time. And at that time, we interested in like the resale culture, like this phenomenon, how this happened or how this would go. Yeah, and so it's like the resale culture is like when you make something and then you sell it and people buy it and resell it in crazy price. So we investigate like who gonna get benefit from this. Is it really a good thing, or actually it affect designers themselves? And the last thing that I would present today is like our project, Bangkok Art Book Fair. So I would just want to give like a short introduction. The Bangkok Art Book Fair was created because of the scarcity at first. Like we make book, but we don't have a channel to distribute. So it's like it starts from that problem. So the way that we respond to problem is not just like providing space, but we also think of like how to engage new people in the community, or how to like make the ecosystem complete. So besides the fair, like 2-3 day events, we also like think about like the all year round event that can happen and bring create new content to the community. So for example, this one, we make a workshop with students because we find the insight that it's difficult for students to make books, like is budget-wise and also like their confidence to do it. So we make like 5-day workshop together with them, and then they can have a book and sell in the fair. And we also like have food, collaborate with the chef, create like menu for the fair, and also like different kind of publication, which is not like book, but more like performance, exhibition, or like poster. This is one of our participants that they showcase their work in the book fair, but actually they are not in the art field, but they are an activist. And this is like the photo from the last fair in 2023. Yeah, the exhibition talking about publication as method. And we also have like a film screening that related to the theme of that year as well. So we've been doing fair since 2017, and into last year was already 7 edition. 6 edition and like 7 including online. So for this year, maybe you haven't like get any announcement from us yet, but for us, we see like we need like to redefine our role in the community a little bit, because as I mentioned before, at first the fair was initiated because of the problem of lack of channel, but nowadays we already have that channel. Like we have more fair happen not only in Bangkok but in Southeast Asia, and the social network or individual platform allow us a lot to present our work. So we also like want to ensure that like we can contribute something to the community, to the individual or independent makers. So we would like to take a gap year on that to research, and then we might change a little bit on the format. Thank you.
Thank you very much for sharing, both of teams here. And I'll just take a quick, short introduction of myself and my practice before moving on to the conversation. So, so starting with this, I'm Gideon, and I run a small studio called Gideon Jamie. And there are multiple activities that we do here and there that ranges across publishing, graphic design, of course, making exhibitions, and so on. So I always like to start with this image because this is the first studio. It's extremely messy, and that kind of describes the nature of the practice. It's filled with lots of different things. Sometimes I'm not sure about it myself, what's happening. And it's a small, really small, 3 meter by 3 meter storeroom, almost like a storeroom. And we have a small risograph over there at the corner. And it's only A4 size and black. And a lot of our work deals with limitations, and maybe it's because of how we started. Now we occupy a slightly larger space, and then here's a bookshop that we run in the front of the entrance of the studio. And these are the books that we've published since 2018 under Temporary Press. And with Temporary Press, it's kind of like a serious side project. It's a side project, but it's serious. And we try as much as possible to make it productive. And a lot of it are collaborations with different artists, designers, authors in Singapore. But I think from here also we'd like to make more publications of our own. These are test prints from an exhibition. So we are fascinated about processes and sometimes quite technical ones. And these are test print patterns from the RISO, and we use the RISO graph quite a lot. Sometimes, like the defaults that come out of it fascinates us quite a lot. So we use the graphics for a poster, for an exhibition that we did recently in Seoul. And these are, what is displayed here are incidental works that we made, maybe from a request from someone. Someone asked us to do a test print, and we take it a little bit too seriously and did like a series of things and so on. So they are really simple works, but I think it also describes the nature of the practice where we try to make something out of a really small idea. In our space, we do some exhibitions occasionally. Maybe in a year we have about 2 or 3. It's a really small store, like the entire studio, there is a small space dedicated for exhibitions, and so far we've done quite a few, but these two are related to books. The first one is Most Beautiful Swiss Books from 2022, and it was held last year. And the second one, it's a traveling book exhibition by ABC. And this is the one from ABC Art Book in China. They are also here in the fair. It's a traveling book exhibition where it accumulates books every time it goes to a new location. And over here, it's Most Beautiful Swiss Books. It's the Book Design Award that I think have never traveled to this country yet. And this is the other part of the studio space where we sometimes have talks, workshops, very occasionally. And this is one of the rare ones where there are more people. Normally it's lesser. This is with James Goggin, a book designer who was really generous and open about sharing his processes. And more recently, we did an exhibition for Singapore Design Week called Shop. So sometimes it's books, most of them are books, sometimes it's also related to ideas around design. We are sometimes just trying to develop critical responses to certain things that we take for granted. So this kind of looks at consumption and tries to undo a little bit of shopping that is happening around us through design. And finally, we have an exhibition happening tomorrow, neutral colors in our space. Okay, that's all for the short introduction. Let's move on to the conversation. Should I? Yep. So thank you very much again. I think it's the first time that both of you are here in, no, not for you, not for Studio 150. You've came for the residency, but it's the first time for Corners. So it's, I think a lot of the works and the visuals, they speak for themselves. For the amount and the range of output in terms of practice. And I would like to start with my first question, which is a really simple one. Why print? After all, that is in the title. And you started with risograph printing and you run a print studio. And for you, you talk about print in relation to expanded ideas, performances, and installations. But yeah, I'm just curious, why start with print? If you need me to elaborate, I can.
I can go first. I think like it starts also from like personal preference also. Like I like print from very young. So it's also like the thing that's inspired me to be a graphic designer. But also when working really with print, I think is very simple but effective mediums. Like it's simple because it has clear narrative. So when we use, for example, that a project that we mentioned that we work with the interns is kind of like a clear narrative that we can go together, like create journey together. But also is a lot of way to experiment with that experience as well. Yeah.
I think we are using printing method by accident, probably. Like when we start our studio, we wanted to make a book, but when we found the price of the offset printing, and it was very expensive, so we couldn't afford to printing on offset, and we were trying to find the other way to produce our work, and we found the second-hand Riso machine in Korea, and we bought the machine, and then we really like the outcomes. It was like just black ink, but the ink is completely different from what I experienced before. So from that point, we kind of trying to find how can we develop this kind of printing technique, but we really like website and other stuff, but it's really difficult to do two things. So maybe we need to stick on just printing, maybe, yeah.
Maybe I could ask a little bit more about the context. I'll give you time, Chris, to interpret. So I'm also curious, with print, I imagine it to be a challenging medium in terms of how, let's say for graphic design commissions, there are less and less books, at least for here. I'm not sure how it's like. And maybe also in schools, for example, that is also diminishing in output and interests. So how do you navigate those challenges, or do those challenges exist from where you practice?
앞에서 보여드린 대로 저희 인쇄 골목 자체나 인쇄 산업 자체가 조금 위축되고 있는 건 맞는데, 저희가 인쇄를 다루는 것은 그래픽 디자인을 진행할 때 어떤 다른 표현의 수단이 되는 것 같다는 생각을 하기 때문에 표현 수단으로 저희가 집중하고 연구할 하나의 또 다른 분야라고 생각이 들어서.
So it's right that you said that this printing business is like diminishing. It's correct that, but when we do this graphic designer, it's the medium that express, and then so we need to focus, and then we need to work with this printing medium. So that's why I'm working on this.
Yeah, to answer your question, that I think it is the reason that why we create Bangkok Art Book Fair to kind of like push like people to use this kind of medium further, because like yes, in Thailand we also have some I believe that print is dead already, but we don't believe that. Yeah, we still using it. And another way that I try to do is like using print, but in different setting. For example, if you see like the Radiant Basing exhibition, like our installation is start from printing. Like for example, light box is like inkjet printing on sticker, but in the setting of light boxes or T-shirt or even the pin set. Yeah, it's like our work always, like the process always start with printing and try to like experiment is many kind of setting.
Yes. Okay. Thank you both. The next question would be, like we've seen print exist in various formats across all your different projects, and it also seems like even though print is the consistent factor, but the nature of the projects are very different. There are exhibitions that you curate as well as those that you contribute to. There are projects that you also take part in publishing and editing, whereas there are also projects that you do it as a graphic designer. So there are very different projects, and it depicts an expanded practice of graphic design. So I'm curious, how did this kind of practice come about, where there are these many multiple types of projects, activities? Is it a lot of it? Is it to do with you self-initiating them, or how did it happen? How did it develop to where it is now?
I think it's more like a song release. So when we have some interest in certain topic, we research and we make some visual stuff and we release this work. And it comes sometimes through the book, or it could be it's just one small print. But if it's a bigger topic and we research and more, and it becomes like an exhibition or so it's like an album release and sometimes a single release. That kind of, I think it's that kind of thing.
Yeah, quite similar to them. Yeah, that it.
Yeah, and sometimes it end up as a book fair.
Yeah, it's like because like Pat mentioned, we use graphic design as medium and plus with the storytelling, and we like also our observation, and when we see this kind of like topic should be present in what kind of medium that we go for that direction. It's not like it seems like we really open at first day that to be many kind of setting.
Yeah, and so with these kinds of practice, I imagine if we talk about it practically, because of course some projects are commission projects, that means we receive payment for that, but a lot of these projects are initiated, and like you said, if you do one, maybe someone would invite and so on, it would grow. Where do you find the motivation? Or what is the motivation behind such range of activities? For you, it would be, of course, the book fair, and I imagine that would be a lot of emotional labor as well, on top of practical work. And for yours, it would be with Ink Village, for example, talking to people, gathering a community of designers, contributing. Those are work that goes beyond like just emails and doing things on the computer. So what is the motivation behind getting all of these things out in your practice?
For me, it is kind of like a story that I want to tell to the people. Yes, as you may know, like there are a lot of problems in my country, and I just want
이런
to
프로젝트를 하실.
I just want to tell this story like to people that to get awareness what happened in our society. I think we use this kind of motivation to do our initiative work. Yeah.
Yeah, it's more like what we can do as a graphic designers, and when we start trying to like with small projects, and then we get feedback, and then it's like, oh yeah, this is what we can do. Like we can use our knowledge, we can use this to tell people. So it's more like a good feedback or a little change that happen, and through time it's like a bit bigger change. I think that could be like a motivation that keep things running.
I think I think we naturally just find these interests because I think we have research machines and we found some interesting effect, and we want to show this effect to the audience sometimes, and sometimes we see sometimes like other company, they ask us to do something for their company, and we think, oh, what can we do? And then we decided to open an exhibition or plan like workshop or something. So we don't really know how we say 어떻게 우리가 이렇게 하는지는, 어떻게 생각을 하는지는 잘 모르겠는데 자연스럽게 그런 것들이 연결돼서 그 동기부여가 되는
So
것 같아요.
actually, it's difficult for us to how we come to like expand our things like this, but actually it's one connected to the other and the other connected to the next thing. So it's like naturally all things like evolving. So that's why we are like working on this. Yes.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you for sharing. I think the context of where I'm coming from is also most of the time for design practices, it's built around commissions. But for both of you, it's quite different, and it's quite rich and expanded. And it's instead of waiting for commissions to come to you, you are initiating them and in that process affecting people, communities, and so on. So yeah, that was what I took away from looking at the presentations, and yeah, I just wanted to find out more, and thanks for that. For the next part, we've talked a little bit about print, we've talked a little bit about expanded practices in design. Maybe something on a more practical level, a question on a more practical level before we open up for questions from the rest. What is, or how do you kind of split your time, or how does it look like in terms of your process and your workflow with each other, with both of you, or with teams? Do you work with a lot of times with other people? Yeah, how do you split your time between working on design, interacting with people, curating exhibitions, and everything else that you do?
We just keep busy doing things. It's like we just make it into like one of the projects, so it's equal 50-50 as one of the commission projects. Because I think even we call it initiative projects, but in a way it's a commission. But the commission is not financially, it's more than just money. But sometimes you cannot use money to do something, right? So this is like how we see it, and it's also like complement each other in some way too.
Do you often work with a larger group of people, or it's mostly two of you for Studio 150?
You mean for the normal project, right? Yeah. Just two of us. Yeah.
저희 같은 경우에는 인쇄를 저희가 직접 진행하기 때문에
So for us, we do our own design company, design work.
그리고 디자인 업무도 시간이 필요하기 때문에
And design needs some time.
나머지 어떤 저희 자체 프로젝트 같은 경우에는 그 외 시간을 활용하고 있는데요.
For the other project, we sometimes need, it takes some time for the other work as well.
다른 사람들이 맡긴 인쇄를 인쇄할 때에도 이 인쇄가 자동 방식으로 인쇄가 되지 않기 때문에
So when we also do take the commissioned work, so it's not working like a automatic way.
저희가 그런 과정에서 조금 영감을 받으면서 그 외의 시간을 활용해서 프로젝트 그 영감이 떠올랐을 때 프로젝트를 기획하고 그걸 전시나 아니면 다른 행사로 기획을 하고 있습니다.
So during this commissioned work, we also get some inspiration from this commissioned work, and we utilize our time for our designs, and then so leveraging and utilizing these chances, we plan our own work as well. Yeah, this is the way we do. Yeah.
But I think it's really hard to divide design and printing into like 5 hours design and 5 hours printing. It's not possible. So we try to printing like certain amount of time, and then if we have to do some design work urgently, we just switch our things to just design it, and that's it.
Yeah, no, I'm glad that it's not only me that is messy. It seems like it's it's something that we all share to some extent. And maybe this is going a little bit out of the title in general, but I think it's still worth asking because it gives us context to how there could be a different kind of model for design practices. So my question is, how does sustaining the practice financially look like? Because a lot of it, like you mentioned, there are commissions, but it might come through an invitation, but not necessarily money. So how does sustaining the practice look like for both of you? Or is it a secret?
디자인 업무에서 나는 수익뿐만 아니라 인쇄라든지 출판이라든지 이런 게 여러 가지 체계 자체가 되게 여러 가지 활동을 하는 체계여서 한쪽이 일이 별로 없을 때는 또 한쪽에 다르게 집중해서 일을 하고 그런 식으로 이제 균형을 맞추면서 자연스럽게 일을 하게 되는 것 같습니다.
For our works, we have these three businesses. So when we have like less work in one area, we try to focus on the other business. So that's why we try to balance our work.
Okay, so for us to make to call it sustain, I think there's three factors like time, money, and accessibility. So in the two different kind of project, they have like maybe some angle is more than others. But in a way of like methodologies or the process, I think both of them complement each other. Like for example, when we do our exhibition, for example, some of the clients see it and see the possibility of it. And also the way that we work with the big company is very structured, and we learn a lot from that, like even like small management tools. So we can use that to manage the projects or art project as well. So it's more like going together this way, yeah.
Okay, thank you. It seems like there is a kind of fluid and good, healthy relationship across different types of projects, and I think that kind of challenges sometimes the ideas we have between like work for money and work for pleasure or whatever else. So thanks for sharing all of those things. Okay, now finally, it's time for all of you. If you have questions, anyone wants to ask any question? There are lots of there are educators, students in the crowd. It could be something related. Yes, there's one in front.
Thank you for the talk, and especially the translator. Thank you. My question is, since both of the organizations do commercial as well as non-commercial work, does your non-commercial work actually inspire the commercial work? Yeah, that's the question. If you have, please share some kind of thoughts about it. Thank you.
상업적인 일을 받아서 하는 게 수익에서는 큰 이익이 있을 수 있는데 비상업적인 저희 작업을 보여주는 것이 저희의 정체성을 조금 더 잘 나타낼 수 있는 그런 프로젝트들이 많기 때문에 그런 것을 보고 어떤 큰 회사라든지 이런 다른 큰 프로젝트가 연계될 수 있는 가능성이 있다고 생각을 합니다.
So for the commercial project, it's for money, so we can make money for doing this commercial project. But when we do our non-commercial project, we can show our identity and we can expose our identity more. And when we show our identity, these big companies, they can spot us, and then they can give some other chances when they find out our own identity. So it can lead on to this big company finding us.
And also, I think the non-commercial projects give a lot of freedom for us, so we can explore to like very wide area, and that borders areas and possibilities also maybe spark the client as well. Like, oh, you can do that, or we can execute that in this way too. So that's affect into our studio, like before we do lots of branding, or like just like one small project. But when we did lots of work, like more, they see possibilities of what we can do. Yeah.
Hi, I have two questions relating to the paperless culture. One is, what is your relationship to the concept of decluttering? Okay, because nowadays it seems to be a kind of trend, right? Minimalism, minimalist life and all that. So first question is your relationship to decluttering. Second relationship is your relationship to new technology like NFT, AI, AR, etc.
I think maybe I can elaborate a little bit. Like the first question on decluttering, it's like when we print, we accumulate a lot of books, papers, prints, but there is like a idea of living with less, and so then how do you feel about that? And then the second part is about new technologies with AI coming in. How does that affect maybe how you approach print or think about that medium?
Because we are using soy-based ink machine and recycled paper, I think it helps a little bit to the earth, and AI and other stuff we don't really know about that. We just try to focus on what we are doing.
I think like the what is called again? Decluttering is like, is in terms of print, I think it's more like for us to think what we're gonna publish or what we're gonna make. Like, is that relevant, or it can be digital also, something like that. So I think it's also noticed in the way that the book is become more like an object, and it's more collectible in a way. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think I also relate with that. So trying to be a bit more conscious about what we choose to print and be more deliberate, and therefore also doing it less mindlessly. Yeah.
And regarding AI, I think it's very like new thing that I don't know, at least me really enjoy. And I think we are in the process of learning it. So we're trying to find a way to incorporate with our process in a way. And yeah.
Any other questions? Maybe, yeah, last few questions.
I have a question. No, sorry not to be a ghost from the back. I think because we talked a lot about different or the expanded ways of approaching a design practice, so I wonder what design is to you. Like, how do you define it? Because you almost do work that goes beyond what the conventional understanding of where design starts and ends.
So difficult question.
That's Bernie for you.
I think the design practice in comparison is quite similar to the curatorial skill that we use a certain asset or property to make the most effective output. And this is my idea about design.
But I think design is like the way of your living, like how to live. It's an attitude rather than like strategy to earn money or something like that. It's just how you live your life, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, if I can add on, I think, yeah, after, the methodology or the approach when doing design can be applied, I guess, for all of us in filtering or editing content, and that comes through things like exhibitions and so on, even though I still do not dare to say I curate. Yes. Yeah, any last questions? Oh, yeah, please.
Hi, thank you for the talk, questions, and the translation. I think my question was, since there's such an expanded range of mediums almost where graphic design, print, websites, art fairs, I see them as a medium. How do you approach a problem or like a topic that you want to solve or a topic that you're interested in and then decide what medium to apply it to? And have you ever come across a time where you think of a solution and then realize that you don't have the skill set for it? For example, the first time you ever do a book fair. So what is your approach to that?
From our case, we focus on the topic and the storytelling, and we think it's constructive way and make a structure. After that, we can see what kind of medium that we support to use to display this kind of information. And to answer your question, if we can't do that kind of medium, yes, we collaborate with some people who truly know it, like for example, like programming or like installation, this kind of thing. Yeah, but everything always start from our idea, like how to use different medium, like to have a holistic communication. Yep.
They're the same. We are not trying to use like risograph all the time. Especially the design work, like client work, we have to research like what's the content and the medium we choose is based on the content, not the medium itself.
Thank you. We have time. Let's make full use of the 1.5 hours. I know it's long. Yeah.
Just like to ask, how much do you leave things to chance since you are doing print and then especially you use risograph as well? Like, for example, you are using a different kind of paper and maybe you are doing overprint or certain colors that you've never used before. Do you actually try them out and make sure that's what you want or you leave it to chance?
Sorry, I couldn't really catch what you
So
said.
for example, with risograph printing, you never know what you're gonna get until you print it out. So the question is, how much are you open to unexpected outcomes, or how much do you leave it to chance?
그러니까 리소그래피 같은 경우에는 결과가 어떻게 나올지 해보기 전까지는 알 수 없잖아요. 그러면은 그런 결과가 나오게 하려면 뭐 어느 정도까지는 뭐 얼마 정도까지는 뭐 좀 필요하다 뭐 그런 게 있으신 건지. 예. You mean like a minimum kind of money has to put? Is it like? No. What is it?
No, more about the process of printing and
Like how much like papers?
So with the print, I think you want
Yeah.
With printing, you often get mistakes or like imperfections in the print. So he's wondering how much of it is left to embracing maybe these imperfections.
Yeah, I think I like this machine because I can stop the machines all the time. Because offset is too fast and you have to print like so many copies and you don't even know how to stop it and fix it, the machine. But risograph is relatively small machine and you can change the color yourself and you can like stick the stickers and you can fix the masters and all the time. And we sometimes stop the machine and fix on Illustrator or InDesign and then print it again and test it and print and we just use the machine like a kind of painting in a way. Yeah.
Okay, then we're at 2:30, and thanks a lot, Studio 150 and Corners, for generously sharing your processes, ideas, motivations, and thanks everyone here for joining us. Bernie.